Welcome to the Produce Industry Podcast, your weekly download on current events, trends, market reports, and community discussions. Join us each week from Tampa, Florida, as we cover all aspects of the produce supply chain industry. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, my boy, the voice of the produce industry, Patrick Kelly.
Hey, produce people, welcome back to the Produce Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kelly, also known as Lil Citrus, coming to you live right here in Tampa, Florida, in the Ag Life Media Studios, where the Produce Industry Network is and is always on the hunt for top stories, news, and interviewing great guests. Everyone, it's always great to be here, and it's always great to be sitting live with a guest. Now, today, we do have a special guest today who is not a, I would say, stranger to the show. And we've got some fun topics that we're going to talk about. But before we do get started, obviously, we do have some important messages that we want to bring you. And a lot of times, those are trade shows that are coming up where people will be, where we are promoting for the produce and supply chain industry. Obviously, I will be traveling in just a couple weeks. I think we're less than 10 days for the Dominican Republic Water for All hike with Continental Fresh and Blue Missions. I'm super excited to be heading back for my fourth year, everyone, to hike Pico Duarte and spend time with the produce and supply chain community. We've got some great people. We have a team of about 40 this year. We've got some returning people from last year and years prior, my son and wife included, and just really excited to be part of that. Again, we have some fundraising links. If you can't go, but you want to donate, please let me know. I love being at that trip every year, and I want you to be there, whether in person or in spirit with a donation. So we'll post that donation link as well. And then moving right after that, we've got two trade shows, right? The same week, December 2nd through the 4th, December 3rd through the 4th. December 2nd through the 4th is the New York Produce Show in New York. I will not be attending that. I have not attended that show yet. Would love to chat with someone about possibly getting out there next year and seeing the show and seeing the vendors and the community up in New York. The furthest I've been up there is NEPC. And so that's around the Boston area. So would really love to get up there. That's December 2nd through the 4th. Also, marketing panel. We've got my buddy John Papp who will be on. So make sure you check out some of the sessions. And then the same week, we have Dan Avakian. That's right, Dan the Produce Man. He is going to be at the Organic Grower Summit just right down the street from him in Monterey, California. Now, those two summits, you think about, those two, yeah, Organic Produce Summit and Organic Grower Summit are part of the same community. So we are looking to talk more with the growers, see what they're doing, maybe some machinery companies, fertilizer companies, because guess what? It's all part of the farming and agricultural world, and we want to be out there to support that community, not just the trade shows that are just the same booths every single time, right? And the same people. We want to get out there and experience new people, new things all the time. Okay? So that's what we want to do. And we're going to get you there. Organic Grower Summit. Pretty cool. First time. We'll be first time attendees there. Dan will be taking it. So within the first week of December, there'll be a lot of reporting to do. But again, did you know there was an Organic Grower Summit? Maybe you didn't. Well, we're about to put it on the map, okay? And that moves us through December and then get into January. Oh my gosh, we've got so much, and we'll get that update probably after next week or the week after. But we've got the East Coast Produce Show. We've got Swipe. We've got Podfest, right? There's so much going on in January, so I'm really looking forward to that. And everyone, those are the announcements to really start the day. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today with our guest is things that are happening, one, internationally, what people are seeing, because I think a lot of times we're pigeonholed into knowing that, hey, we're in the United States, so that's what we focus on all the time. I get it. But what if I was to tell you the other countries aren't talking about tariffs? What if I was to tell you that other countries aren't even thinking about some of the things that we're thinking about? Even though they sell to us, they think a little bit differently. And obviously, we have someone on the ground that gets a lot of those comments, concerns about what's happening. And even in the media world, one of the things that we've been doing this last year is, so I went to Podfest in 2024, And during PodFest, they were like, video is king, video is king, video is king. And they were pitching that in 2023. The video podcast is king. Why? Because of those short clips. We're going to talk more about those short clips. We're going to talk about some of the studies that were out there and how to magnify and amplify your marketing strategy, okay? Because I think there's things that, we might be doing that you're like, we don't need that. You probably do, okay? And I'm just saying that because it's not that I'm doing it and I charge for it, so that's what you have to do. No, there's so much out there, and we've got a couple case studies on influencers, what they would charge you versus actually getting a different type of influencer to create the content with you that knows what they're doing, right? So there's a lot, and I think that information is our duty to give to you, right? And that's what I want to do. So when we're going to do this episode a little different, normally I'll take a break, come back on, and introduce our guest. And it's almost like this talk show type feel. Today, we're going to do a little bit differently. We're going to go ahead and introduce our guest now before the break, talk a little bit and dive into a couple of the topics, then take a break, come right back, dive into more topics. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it and get our featured guest on the show, Juanita Gaglio. Hey.
Hi, Patrick. It's a pleasure to be here in Tampa today. Just arriving this morning, I did not realize Tampa could get this cold. It's colder than Long Beach, California.
Nice, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty chippy.
I was going to say, yeah, it is. It's very chill, but by the end of the day, it's going to be 80 degrees.
I hope so.
It's going to be very warm, everyone, if you know Florida. So glad to have you here. We kind of set this up for you to be here this week and do this podcast today, releasing today.
Yes, we have so much to talk about. We have so much interesting subject matter after almost finishing the year out.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I think that we talk about it all the time, like, what are people talking about? What's going on out there? And, you've been to a couple international trade shows over the last couple of months. And from when we went to Fruit Logistica, everybody was talking about what they're going to do with tariffs into the United States or where they're going to do business, right? All of the above. The climate's changed.
Oh, completely.
Oh, my gosh.
Completely. And I think a lot of it had to do, it was so new in February when we went to Fruit Logistica that people were more, I'm not saying afraid, but they were just in shock. They couldn't believe that these tariffs were actually going to happen. And it was more, well, there's more talk, but let's see if it actually happens. And then a few months more into it, when some of these tariffs were levied or announced, they really got very concerned. And then fast forward all the way into Fruit Attraction in Madrid, which was just a few weeks ago. It was very interesting while I was there that I spoke mainly to European companies, and they didn't even talk about tariff. It never even came up in a conversation because now they're looking for new sources, new markets, and they're excited about it. They're looking, especially for Attraction and for Logistica, it has the opportunity that everyone comes together there. You can walk over to another pavilion, another country pavilion, and find out what they might need and establish a business relationship and get something going. So
versus kind of like, and again, no disrespect to any of the U.S. trade shows, but we've heard this from a lot of international clients when they come over here. They will only sometimes advertise or market with one or two shows because they tell us all the time, yeah, but it's the same thing. Right? Because some of those bigger shows have the international presence, have the global presence. Some of the regional shows, it's really more for regional, right? It's
very U.S. based.
It's very U.S. based. It's looking for the U.S. retailer, the U.S. buyer. A lot of the international export talks.
They're looking for the grower and shippers from really outlying areas like Dubai, places in the Far East, New Zealand, Australia.
Yeah.
As far as we are concerned, the fresh produce community, everyone is a customer.
And that's
everyone's a potential.
And we talk about that with some of the stuff in Canada with our Canada sponsors is like there's certain fruit that can get into Canada that isn't allowed to come into the U.S. And that has to do with production, right? We don't we don't need I would say Filipino pineapples. We don't need Turkish oranges. Why? Because it directly competes with the trade agreements that we have and local production, right? No difference in citrus. We bring so much summer citrus in because there's no citrus during the summertime.
Yeah, I'm going to say that if one thing positive that has come out of the tariffs, it has truly educated the U.S. consumer, because people that I've spoken to off the street, that they're just a regular consumer going into a grocery market to buy their even just basic oranges, apples, maybe nothing else. But they have said to me, well, we don't need to have South Africa citrus or Australia citrus. Why do we need them here? Or apples coming in from New Zealand, because we have our own. They think of Florida, of Southern California as all these sources. And my reply is, yes, we do have them here, but there's off season when they're not readily available or fresh. And that's when we're bringing fresh product in from other countries that you probably are buying during the summer. You're just not aware that these products are not from here. They're from South Africa,
Agreed.
Australia citrus, or New Zealand apples. So, and it's the tariffs have really, because I've had people go, oh, I didn't know that. Another thing I've had happen is a lot of people say, well, we can, about bananas. We don't need to import bananas. I hear this all the time.
Oh, I know.
I can't believe that U.S. consumers don't understand you cannot grow bananas
Or limes.
in the United States, or even pineapples. I
Nope.
don't think we can grow pineapples here.
Nope.
So many U.S. people, everyday consumers have said, well, why do we need to import bananas?
Let's just grow it here.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Well, we're not in a subtropical climate.
So, I mean, if anything positive has come out of the tariffs,
Education.
it's that educating the U.S. consumer thinking twice. Oh, you can't grow bananas here?
I mean,
No,
it's true.
I don't think you can grow bananas in Michigan.
I remember when I imported pineapples into Los Angeles and brought them up to Fresno. This was already happening, right? Dole, Del Monte, Chiquita, they were already doing it. And I remember getting on like KMPH, the Fox sister station, LA's sister station for Fresno. And I remember the guy was like, Patrick, when I went to Tahiti for the first time, they were going to take us to a pineapple grove. And he goes, and we got there and I saw all these plants. I was like, where are the trees at? He goes, I thought pineapples hung from trees. Like you would see these big blooms hanging out. And he goes, and I realized they grow in the ground. And I was like, holy cow. And then they showed us how they picked them. And I was like, wait, what? So even then, back in 2013, we were importing pineapples, but the regular consumer, when we did the press release of like bringing pineapples into Fresno, the same thing. They were like, what do you mean? Pineapples grow here, don't they? Like nobody really knows.
So I find this very interesting because I know that it's not just the associations that put out quite a bit of money to promote fresh fruits and vegetables, but even many growers and shippers dedicate a lot of marketing funds to educate, a lot of different signage and QR codes. And when I hear these kind of comments just from everyday consumers, I think, wow, we have a long way to go.
We do.
A long way to go. If all of this money being spent is not reaching the consumer, if they, basic.
Well,
Basic
again,
101.
it's like static. Sometimes they see static because they think if I'm going to scan a QR code, they're going to get my information. They're going to do this. They're going to do this, right? Like how many times have you gone to a store and they say, hey, sign up for free, and they make you put your email, and you're fine with that, right? But then you're not signed up until you confirm the email, put your phone number in, do all this. It's like, listen, I thought you were just going to give me a coupon for the day. Now I got to be a loyalty member, and people are getting tired of that, right? I mean, it's getting overwhelming to get all these things in. And when you think, oh, education, is it really? You start to think to yourself, what am I getting duped into buying when I scan this? Even though it's really just education, right?
Yeah, another thing that I'm seeing in the U.S. supermarkets are a lot of emptiness, pockets of emptiness in the produce section.
Yeah.
I think it's been hard for them to kind of gauge what they're going to ship out because there's just been so much uncertainty.
Right. And again, it's funny because it's on both sides. We're going to take a quick break, but some people are thinking like, well, yeah, we're really taxing those importers, right? But people don't realize that the importers are U.S.-based importers. So
they have an investment in outside the U.S.
That's right. So the
shippers,
grower in, say, South Africa, and luckily we know this a little bit, they were splitting some of those costs, right? Mm-hmm. But I've also been told by some other mango or lychee or dragon fruit or other commodities where the grower is not splitting those costs.
It's up to each grower shipper how they work it out.
Yeah, so some of these importers who are American-based importers, right, Juanita? They are American businesses, and then they're getting charged tariffs on bringing in that fruit because guess why? They've got contracts with the retailers that they have to do these things on.
They have to honor it.
And then the retailers might say, or wholesaler, go, listen, I didn't book at that price.
Yeah.
I can't pay you more because that's going to bring our retail price point up, right? So American companies are facing this. And then, like you said, I love what you said. Internationally, people aren't talking about it anymore. They're just going to find new markets. It's been 9 months. People are not going to go, well, let's just see what happens over the next 3 years. They're moving on, and they got to create new markets. Now, it's going to create a supply and demand flux all the way around, right? Everywhere around, because citrus in Brazil affects citrus in South Africa.
It's like it's like a domino effect.
Right? They want that controls Europe, that control imports. So I totally agree that we're all being affected around the globe. But I love what you said. International is getting resilient really fast, and then being proactive to move forward.
Really on their feet about this.
Because again, if it's a 30% tariff, it's losing money, so they can't.
It's almost prohibitive.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be right back. When we get back, we're gonna talk about content clips, some things that Juanita has experienced overseas. So everyone, we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back. From the heart of the still, where steam curls and fresh mint leaves release their essence, this is Awahi mint oil. Soft, sweet, and smooth as a morning breeze through a mint field. With its naturally earthy aromas, it's the perfect touch for summer drinks, cooking, and diffusing. And like nature's finest, it only grows richer and sweeter with time. Straight from the still, pure, fresh, timeless. Awahi mint oil. Welcome back, everyone, to the Produce Industry Podcast. Listen, it's always great to hear from Dynamite sponsors, creating dynamite material for the content and the produce industry. I like how I kind of switched that up on everyone. I'm excited. I want to get back into it. Juanita's still here. Juanita, before we went to break, we talked about international. We talked a little bit about some content creation. You talked about it on your show a little bit. We've talked about it on LinkedIn. And this is one of the things that a lot of clients are asking for is they're like, we want video, more video. I've been asked by 5 sponsors this year on helping them get influencers. And I'm like, this is going to be a lot. And I even have a couple case studies from that. But I want you to talk to the people out there that are listening about these viral clips, what you heard from Bloomberg, what you're hearing on things. And then it's not just going viral, right, Juanita? Because one clip can go viral, but no one ever sees your account ever again after that. There's importance about making content, having a strategy, right? And I think that you've encountered that as I've been preaching it to you for years.
Content is king.
You're starting to see it even more, right? So talk to us about that.
Well, everyone wants to do a podcast or everyone wants to do videos, but it's all about how you put the content together that really makes it carry it much further to where you want it to go. And one of the hottest things right now they're called clips, which we call them short video clips.
Short clips.
But Bloomberg is calling them clips. And what they have found is that there's this cottage industry for these clips from a 40-minute interview, whether it's a podcast or live stream. So someone who can take that 40-minute interview and find the sweet spot within that interview to do a 1 minute or less clip, short video clip, post it on a social media channel, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, or another, TikTok. That is worth anywhere between, I think it's $300 to maybe $1,000 for 1 million views from that clip. And people are getting it. They're really going out there. If they really know how to, like I said, it's not just pulling anything out. And we do that a lot too, where you'll take an interview and you'll take out it's like a collage from that. And it's all about what appeals to people, what they're looking at, what they're looking for.
Correct.
And you want to attract them enough so they're going, wow, I really liked what I heard in that less than a minute. I want to hear the full interview. And so that's what it is. It's an appetizer. It's just meant to tease their appetite so they want to find out more about that company.
100%. And I love what you said. These videos are being made from 300 to 1,000, right? That is not an influencer doing it and posting it either. right? Because we've learned that as well. So to give you a case study, we work with another group, right? And they asked, they didn't ask us. They said, hey, we're going to hire a couple influencers this year. Is there anything that you would want to put into the contract that they should do for our channel, right? And I was like, well, yeah, and you're paying, yep, we're paying them, we're doing this. I said, perfect. I said, just put in there, put one post a week, we'll provide the content. Mm-hmm. And she goes, perfect. The influencer came back and said, not a problem, $3,000 per post.
Can you imagine that? $3,000 per post?
$3,000. Wow. $3,000.
And how long does it take to do a post?
I mean, listen, if you have the content already made.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 minutes based on internet, like writing it, doing the hashtags, doing the right. What takes the longest is if the internet or the video needs to be trimmed or just different things, right? But you got to remember, so someone that has 90,000 or 100,000 followers, they're going to command that type of price because what they're going to say is, I'm promoting something that I traditionally am not doing authentically.
Yes.
So then to them, now they've got a rate sheet for that because they know, okay, if I promote this and it only gets 200 views, I don't get paid anything from my platform. So they have to, one, cover their costs. Two, a lot of influencers don't post themselves. So they have teams to do this. So then that price goes up. So now the influencer costs $3,000. Juanita, we were going to create the content. So now we're spending that $1,000, right? The 300 to 1,000. Just take it as the smallest at 300, right? Mm-hmm. So we created the content at $300. Then he wants $3,000 per post.
That's amazing.
So now we're at $3,300, ready? And that person, the influencer, is completely the opposite of me, right? Which is what we do is we create the content. We actually will edit, do the posts, right? Tag you in the post because our goal is to grow our industry, right? In fresh produce. But right there, when we give people 10 short clip videos, could you imagine if we charged $3,000 a video?
I don't think people realize what the value of them are, though. They really don't. Short clip video. I mean, use them. Many people just put them on the shelf.
Yeah.
You don't even see them. They don't promote them. And it's your gold mine.
Well, like I said, if you're billboard. And if you're the owner of the company, if you're the CEO, if people want to see from you, right? They might be talking to the buyers and the sales reps all day, but they want to hear from you. And this content is key, right? And we're starting to see that. We saw this at IFPA last year, SCPC, right? When we did our yacht excursion, right? We started to see when we started posting a lot of these short clips during the show. That's when we started. Everyone, just so we're clear, everybody thinks I post all the time, right? Before January of 2024, I did no short clip videos. I legitimately, my short clip videos was maybe doing an unboxing with some music behind it. Mm-hmm. And then again, Podfest was January. Right. And I left Podfest saying, I'm going to record video from here on out. We're going to do it this way. And I'm going to post short clips. And since then, from January 2024 all the way till, last year we had over 2.5 million views on our profile. This year we've had over 4 million views, and it's the short clips. Yeah,
it's really exciting to see the clients getting it as well. They're really, really pleased. We posted, I think, 8 short clip videos from our clients after IFPA.
No, it was almost 14.
No, but just the short clip videos on your page.
Yeah, that was almost 14 clients we did. Yeah.
Okay. But out of those clients, we got about 1.3 million views within 2 weeks.
Yeah, out of all the videos in those 2 weeks, that was all of it. That was just
short clip videos.
All short clip.
That was comprising all of those.
It was roughly 14 total videos, right? And that included Dan doing some promotions of the pod mic. It included me at Tanaka Farms. Yeah. But some of those videos, those short clips, even at Tanaka Farms, got 30, 40,000 views.
So it shows the power of these short clip videos.
And you can't buy views on LinkedIn. Look it up, okay? But no, that's one thing. Yeah. You could run ads and boost your posts, but you want to do that, everybody. You want to boost your posts and geo-target during those big shows because there's so much going on in your feed that you wonder, how come during a show I only got 12 impressions? Because they scrolled past it. It wasn't stop-worthy. It was scroll-worthy. Yeah, I actually say that, scroll-worthy.
I like that.
Because you're scrolling, you got to find something that makes you stop. If not, you're just scroll worthy. You're in you're in the paper.
Big, huge.
You're just in the paper. Read it, right? How many times do you read a paper in the back of the days and you just skip a whole page because the top headline doesn't catch you, right? Yeah. So Yeah,
It's a whole new world
it
today.
is. And I talked about that at Fruit Logistica about digital, I would say digital innovation.
Transformation.
And it is because it is innovation too. Because you got to make it.
You got to understand.
Ingenuity. You have to have all of this in your head. Oh, I got to set up a mic. I got to have scenes. Juanita, we want to talk about oranges. Like you almost as a person have to be like, you got to wear like 8 hats when you're doing this.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. It's not just getting the camera out or your phone out. It's a lot of moving parts.
And that's where people get seriously the most bogged down is because they think, oh, I'll just put out a camera and record. We saw that at some of the trade shows with people that brought people with recording. They didn't know what to do. They were kind of standing around. I'm like, you have a film crew here? And they were like, yeah. They didn't know what to do because those people don't know what to catch. Me, I've worked at produce booth before. So have you.
Yeah.
We know exactly what to catch.
I think the best one was when we were at CPMA. You had the gentleman, he had, I believe it was an apple.
No, tomatoes.
Tomato. It was a tomato.
Was that Luke or
Luke,
no?
It was Luke. Yes. He had a tomato, and I never would have thought of this, but after we interviewed him, you had him just go like this to the camera with the tomato.
Yeah.
Now, who would have thought of doing something like that? The way you integrated that into the video was fantastic.
And
And
that's me being like, I know what I would like to see for produce, right? And I always say that when someone's like grabbing it and being like, check this out, right? So it's things that like you put it into slow-mo or you put it in ways
slow motion,
people want to see.
Yeah.
And then we show like Rowdy Rabbit. When Dan and you went to the Rowdy Rabbit booth up at OPS or IFPA, I love that he did the waterfall display. So, right, we get the B-roll afterwards, right? People try to do the interview and get the B-roll during the interview to show like the dynamic. So I'm giving some hints here, right? But these are all things that I always say, like, this is what I would want to see. Like,
you learn to weave it.
Because
weave
again, I'm in produce. If I came to you, and Steve Jobs said this best, but if I came to you and tried to sell you a technology for your program or for your fruit that, not to say wasn't proven, but hey, once we get this, we're gonna try it on you, right? Steve Jobs always says you can't build the technology and work backwards. Technology is gonna be there, right? This is back in like 1990. He was like, you can get an app, you can get JavaScript to run these different things, right? But it all starts with the customer experience.
Yeah, the use of it.
The customer experience. So like to me, if you were about to show someone an orange, right? You wouldn't be like, yeah, look at that. You'd be like, check this out. So in my head, I was like, check that out, right?
Yeah, I really like that.
That's what my brain went towards versus, again, I love all the other media outlets in our industry, but it's so journalist that what can I write and put down on paper versus what can I take a picture of?
A picture says 1,000 words.
And a video says even more.
Yeah.
So what, one thing I want to tell, everyone, we can go on for hours about this because Juanita and I have a lot of these conversations. Juanita, Ag Life Media has been running since February 4th. We launched in Fruit Logistica.
Right.
Over 1 million views to the website, over a few million views to our LinkedIn page. One thing I've been told by people is like, wow, I didn't know you guys did that. Crazy, huh? But where are these million people that we're getting views from around the world, though? I mean, we're getting in top countries, right? And I know because I'm sitting here looking at the analytics being like, okay, and we SEO agriculture, ag, produce podcast. So think about when someone types in, even if his ag is in their word, even if it's a different word, right? It's going to pop up, you know, so, but then again, I also have people say to me, I didn't even know Ag Life Media was around. I need you to talk to people right now about that because you're always like, how do we get people to know? Let's tell them about Ag Life Media a little bit.
Well, first of all, you need to go online and check it out, aglifemedia.com, because you're going to find articles from everything, not just from fresh produce, but all the people on the periphery supporting fresh produce, from fertilizer to seed companies. But then we don't like to have fresh produce just siloed, because people don't just eat fresh produce alone. They usually put it with fish or meat or other products in a store. So we also have categories for dairy, seafood, meat, plant-based foods. So, all the way around, it's a one-stop shop where you get to find out what's going on in all the other categories. And then that comes into your marketing. If you find another area where you can plug in your product, that's better to for you to be able to contact the company and see if there can be some kind of promotional cross promotions within some supermarket chains.
No, I think that's cool too, because you said like the consumer side, like people are always asking, and we put in when you log on, I mean, front page is really, you can tell it's fresh produce, but there's tariffs on there. On the front page, it has supply chain talks with what are the Japanese doing? Where are they sending some of their stuff now? It has some of the White House and all those updates on actual what are they doing with some of these bills.
So what Canada the agreement they've just done with Mexico?
Exactly. We have stuff like Gelson's Produce Box hits LA, and again, I love seeing like the Now You Know, the Packer, the Produce. I mean, I love all of those, right? And I think they're very niche, but I think we've gotten to a point where we put our stories there because that's who we send it to, right? And I love print. It's memorable. I talked about this in Fruit Logistica, but with Ag Life Media, it's like, can you get a story on Ag Life Media that talks about tariffs and with clickable links that could go to other tariffs? Yeah. Can you do that on some of the other sites? Yeah, no answer there. Because think about it. The other sites, they're pinning you towards what they want you to see. Mm-hmm. And then right below that, it'll like say, oh, click on here for Kroger or click on here.
Right.
Which is fine. I love that, right? But then Ag Life Media is AI driven. So if you click on that, it's going to show you other relatable and top stories on the side.
And that was your dream.
That
was your vision, and you made it happen.
Because why? We need to know. Because if you start clicking on
as
AI,
I said, you don't want to silo fresh produce.
And
only.
we are fresh produce, right? If there's produce industry,
there's other things that support it as well.
Right. Now, if the new apple variety comes out and it's causing supply and demand shifts, that's a story. Mm-hmm. If it's just a new press release that the new apple's coming out because it's the new season, that's an ad, right?
Yeah.
We've changed for advertorials where we want to put an ad, but it go into a story so you have some depth. But really, that's just another press release. And we want those. We publish those.
Yeah, because we're really starting to gain traction with even international, like MacFruit is sending us press releases on a regular basis. Everything going on over in Europe.
They're starting to see.
Yeah, and so it's really exciting. We're starting to get a lot more. We're trying to see where we're going to fit some of these articles into.
I love that you said that. Yeah. When you talk about like the mobile app too, so check this out. I'm on my phone, but I've got the mobile app here. And, clicking on like top stories, I always go back to like 2022 press releases, right? So how many press releases do you think I had in 2024?
I have no idea.
Between 0 and 10.
Okay.
How many?
6.
Okay, I had 4. Okay, right? Mm-hmm. And then in 2023, right? Because now I'm like, I got to get more people on this, right? We got to start signing people up, right? So how many do you think we had in 2023?
2.
So in 2023, we had 12.
Oh.
Okay. Now we go to 2024. Last year it was over, I think 40 or 50, maybe 60 last year, right? 2025. Now we get so many press releases that come in, we have to filter them out sometimes, like I was just telling you now, because sometimes you'll get like crop update or something like that.
Yeah.
But remember, if I was to put that on there, AI reads that. So if everybody's clicking on that, it's going to pull other Apple stories and things like that, right? Which is great, right? But if that company's just promoting their company for their brand, their Apple, it might not have anything related to the other stories. That's why we want it as hey, if you have a new Apple variety, we're going to put that as maybe a midline ad. New Apple, click here, right? Yeah. Because that's what's going to draw you in if you're looking for that. Because if you accidentally click on it thinking it's a story and it's just an ad, you're going to know that and it's going to take you away from it.
You want to stay within the realm.
Yeah, right? So no difference than I taught you about LinkedIn. People ask me all the time, why do you put link in comments below, or why do you always not put the website in the post? I've taught you this.
Yep.
We don't want to take people from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
There's a lot to learn, and it's always moving within the social media platforms.
It is,
the
but
algorithms are just always changing.
But ready?
Yeah.
If you stay on top of it, it's no difference than pricing and fruit changing every year.
That's true.
The difference is people don't want to do it because that's the algorithm. But we could say that about USDA pricing. That's USDA pricing. Am I right, though?
Yeah, that's true.
How many times did we get USDA pricing when you worked for Sunworld back in the days, and you'd be like, that's not where the market is?
That's what it says.
Oh, but that's what it says.
Yep.
Right? So it's all over the board. It's crazy. So what would you tell our listeners out there about Ag Life Media and jumping on?
Don't miss a chance because it's new. I would say that we're really always seem to be ahead of the curve, and it takes people a while to understand what we're doing. But once they get it, they're really quite excited and pleased because we're doing something very pioneer, I would say. And Ag Life Media really shows that.
And sometimes we do too much, right?
We really jump ahead of the curve.
Sometimes we do too much. Everyone, thank you so much for joining the Produce Industry Podcast here in Tampa, Florida at Ag Life Media Studios. As we always say, Juanita, I'll see you in the field.
Or somewhere on the horizon or on a trade show floor.
We'll see you next time.